In the passage, the author anticipates which of the following objections to criticizing the ethics of free markets. Okay, so we're looking at two questions at once here, because the first one is an analyzing arguments question, but the second one is a citing textual evidence question, right? It says, which choice provides the best evidence for the answer to the previous question? And when I see that phrasing, which choice provides evidence for the previous question's answer, that gives me a signal that I can do two at once. I can use the answer to 3 to help me find the answer to 2. So my plan for this question is I'm going to rip-rap, I'm going to rephrase if possible, and then go back to the text, read around and predict. But I'm going to read around and predict using these 4 different line citations to help narrow down my choices. So, okay, question 2. Let's rephrase this first, the R in RIP. In the passage, the author anticipates which of the following objections to criticizing the ethics of free markets. That feels a little complicated to me. Let me break that down and rephrase it. So we've got an objection to criticizing the ethics of free markets. So someone is saying free markets are unethical, and someone else is objecting to the idea that free markets are unethical. And the author is ready for it. The author has anticipated an objection. My interpretation of this question is, how does the author argue that free markets are ethical? And I'm going to phrase that as, free markets are good, actually. So that's my rephrasing. And as I go through the choices, the line citation set up in question 3, I'm going to test those choices against this rephrasing. Free markets are good, actually. And I'm going to test that against, first, lines 4 through 5. So some to ethical. Here's line 4. Some argue that because the free markets allow for personal choice, they are already ethical. Okay. That kind of feels like it does say free markets are good, actually. I'm going to put a little star here. This might be our answer. And later we'll expose the choices for question 2 and we'll test against them. But let's just see. But meanwhile, let's return to the passage and see if the other choices match our free markets are good, actually, rephrasing even better. So lines 7 through 9, followed by 18 to 19. Okay, here's line 7. But before we can label any market outcome as immoral or sneer at economists who try to put a price on being ethical, we need to be clear on what we are talking about. Okay, so this is making a case for creating definitions about what ethics are, rather than saying X is moral or Y is immoral. So I'm going to say that doesn't match free markets are good, actually. What was the next one? 18 to 19. Smith to outcome. Here we are. Here's line 18. Smith justifies selfish behavior by the outcome. That has nothing to do with free markets. I'm going to cross off C. I'm going to cross off B. Finally, choice D, lines 43 to 45. When to weigh. There's line 40, 41, 42, 43. When to weigh. Here we go. When a finance official refuses to devalue a currency because they have promised not to, they are defining ethics this way. This does not sound like it has anything to do with free markets or objections to them. So I'm going to cross off D. So now I'm pretty sure we have our answer for 3. Because it's the only thing that had anything to do with criticizing the ethics of free markets. So let's expose the choices. What do we got here? A. Smith's association of free markets with ethical behavior still applies today. Okay, I'm going to cross that off because the line citation we got has nothing to do with Adam Smith. B. Free markets are the best way to generate high profits, so ethics are a secondary consideration. This is not an argument that was made in the passage. I'm just going to cross it off. C. Free markets are ethical because they are made possible by devalued currency. It so happens that this idea of devalued currency does appear in the passage, and it appears in the line reference included in choice D in the second question. But the reference to devalued currency has nothing to do with free markets being good, actually, so we can cross it off. Finally, D, free markets are ethical because they enable individuals to make choices. And that feels right to me. Let's return to the citation one more time. Some argue that because free markets allow for personal choice, they are already ethical. Okay, so free markets are ethical because they enable individuals to make choices. That's pretty much exactly what's being said. So let's step back and talk about strategy again. Here's what I did. So first, I rephrased this kind of complicated question stem and turned it into just a quick little slug line. Free markets equals good, actually. And then I took my rephrasing and I kind of used it as a prediction to test against the choices in question 3. I was looking for a choice that defended free markets as good. And once I found that, I knew it would be short work to return to question 2, expose the choices, and find something that matched its own evidence. Because what can happen on the test is you will see things like choice C, where it brings up devalued currency, right? Which is something that was indeed in the passage, but has no bearing on this particular question. What I like about this strategy is it makes me feel confident about both of these answers because they both feed into each other. And the feelings of confidence and of decisiveness are two of the most powerful tools you can bring with you on test day.